Imagine you wake up one day and find that there is not enough food to feed yourself and your family. You hear reports of riots, violence, and famine in other parts of the world. This is not a dystopian scenario, but a reality that millions of people are facing right now. Here, we will explore the causes, effects, and solutions of food scarcity from a global perspective. Food scarcity has been a recurring challenge throughout human history. Whether caused by natural disasters, wars, diseases, or population growth, it has always been a source of suffering, displacement, and death for millions of people. However, in recent decades, food scarcity has become more widespread and severe due to several factors that are shaping the global food system in unprecedented ways. One of the main drivers of food scarcity is climate change. The changing patterns of rainfall, temperature, and seasons are affecting crop yields and livestock production, which in turn affect the availability and affordability of food for millions of people. Extreme weather events such as droughts, floods, storms, and heat waves are becoming more frequent and intense, damaging crops, infrastructure, and ecosystems. Climate change also increases the risk of pests, diseases, and wildfires that can destroy food sources and disrupt the food chain. Another factor that contributes to food scarcity is food waste. Food waste is the discarding or loss of food that is safe and edible for human consumption. Food waste occurs at various stages of the food system, from production, processing, distribution, and retail to consumption. According to the UN, about 17% of all food available to consumers in 2019 was wasted, equivalent to 931 million tons of food. Food waste is directly related to population growth, a contributing factor to water shortage, and it is also a major driver for food insecurity. Around a third of the total food produced for human consumption per year, around 1.3 billion tons, is wasted or lost. And that is enough to feed 3 billion people, or nearly 40% of the global population. Another major driver of food scarcity is conflict. Almost 100 million people were affected by acute food insecurity in 2023 due to conflict, according to the Global Report on Food Crises. Conflict disrupts food production, distribution, and access by displacing people from their homes and livelihoods, destroying infrastructure and markets, creating insecurity and violence, and diverting resources from humanitarian aid. Conflict also exacerbates existing inequalities and vulnerabilities among different groups of people, such as women, children, older people, and refugees. Economic shocks, often fueled by the COVID-19 pandemic, replaced weather events as the second driver of acute food insecurity in 2023. The pandemic has caused widespread disruptions in the global food system, affecting supply chains, trade flows, prices, incomes, and demand. The pandemic has also increased poverty and unemployment, reducing people's purchasing power and access to food. According to the World Bank, the pandemic could push an additional 88 million to 115 million people into extreme poverty in 2023, reversing decades of progress in poverty reduction. Finally, population growth is increasing the demand for food, particularly in developing regions where most of the world's hungry people live. The world population is expected to reach 8.5 billion by 2030 and 9.7 billion by 2050, which means that more food will be needed to feed more mouths. This puts pressure on natural resources such as land, water, and biodiversity, which are already under stress due to climate change, pollution. The challenge of feeding the world sustainably and equitably will require innovative solutions that address the root causes of food scarcity and promote resilience, diversity, and social justice. The ramifications of food scarcity are absolutely devastating for human health, well-being, and security. When food becomes scarce, the consequences can be dire, leading to a plethora of issues that can have a profoundly negative impact on society as a whole. One of the most direct and immediate consequences of food scarcity is hunger and malnutrition. The feeling of discomfort or weakness caused by lack of food can be overwhelming and, if not addressed quickly, can lead to malnutrition, which is a condition that results from eating a diet that does not provide enough or too much of one or more nutrients. This can have a catastrophic impact on physical growth, cognitive development, immune function, and overall health. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, between 691 million and 783 million people were hungry globally in 2022, which effectively erased progress made since 2015. In addition, food insecurity rose from 25.3% in 2019 to 29.6% in 2022, with severe insecurity affecting 11.3% of the global population. Poverty and inequality are both causes and effects of food scarcity. When people are in poverty, they are often unable to afford or access adequate food, while food inequality creates disparities in food availability and distribution among different groups of people based on gender, age, ethnicity, location, and other factors. The effects of food scarcity can also deepen poverty and inequality by reducing people's income, education, and opportunities. According to the World Bank, the COVID-19 pandemic could increase the global poverty rate by up to 1.4 percentage points in 2023, reversing years of progress. Social unrest and violence are often triggered or exacerbated by food scarcity. The frustration, anger, and desperation that can come with not having enough food can be overwhelming, and it can create a volatile environment where violence and social unrest can quickly spiral out of control. Food scarcity can also fuel competition, conflict, and violence over scarce resources such as land, water, and food itself. Additionally, food scarcity can undermine social cohesion, trust, and stability by eroding the legitimacy and capacity of governments and institutions to provide food, security, and other public goods. According to the World Food Program, food insecurity was associated with nearly 60% of violent conflicts in countries where it operated between 2011 and 2015. In summary, food scarcity is a serious issue that can have far-reaching and devastating consequences for individuals, communities, and entire nations. From hunger and malnutrition to poverty and inequality, the effects of food scarcity can be profound and long-lasting. We must work together to find sustainable solutions to address this issue and ensure that everyone has access to the food they need to thrive. The issue of food scarcity is a complex one that requires the coordinated efforts of multiple actors at different levels. There are a variety of possible solutions that can be implemented to address this pressing issue, each of which is vital in its way. One such solution is climate action. By taking action to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, enhancing the resilience and adaptation of food systems, and promoting low-carbon and climate-smart agriculture, we can work to mitigate and adapt to the impacts of climate change on food security. Addressing the root causes and drivers of climate change, such as fossil fuel consumption, deforestation, and land degradation, is also an important part of this effort. Another important solution is peace building and humanitarian assistance. By promoting dialogue, reconciliation, and cooperation among different groups of people, strengthening governance and institution, protecting human rights and the rule of law, and providing humanitarian aid and protection to those in need, we can prevent and resolve conflicts that threaten food security. This effort also involves addressing the underlying causes and consequences of conflict, such as poverty, inequality, injustice, and violence. Economic recovery and social protection are also crucial to addressing food scarcity. By stimulating economic growth, creating jobs and livelihoods, supporting smallholder farmers and rural development, enhancing trade and market access, and providing social protection and safety nets to the most vulnerable groups of people, we can cushion the effects of economic shocks on food security. Ensuring inclusive and equitable development, reducing poverty and inequality, and improving access to health, education, and other services are also important components of this effort. Finally, population control and food diversification are crucial to ensuring food security for all. Promoting family planning, reproductive health, and women's empowerment, reducing population growth rates, and improving access to quality education are all important steps in this direction. Encouraging the consumption and production of a variety of foods, especially those that are nutritious, sustainable, and resilient to climate change, such as fruits, vegetables, legumes, and nuts, is also vital in achieving this goal. Food scarcity is a critical problem that affects human health, well-being, and security. Multiple factors, such as climate change, conflict, economic shocks, and population growth, cause it. Food scarcity is not inevitable or irreversible. It can be prevented and solved if we act together with urgency, solidarity, and responsibility. We hope you enjoyed this video on global perspective and why food scarcity is a critical problem. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more informative and engaging videos on various topics. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.